Hello friends, and welcome to a video that I don't think I'm going to make again. It's one about chickenpox because my son, who's nearly 5 years old, he caught it from school and we only noticed it last night. So before I delve into all the symptoms and everything, I've also got some medication and stuff that I'm going to walk you through. I would love for you to subscribe and also like this video if you do enjoy it. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So I think basically last night he came home and I noticed these spots on his back, which I didn't notice in the morning, and I know that it wasn't there in the morning for sure because he was actually took his top off and asked me to like stroke it. So I remember there were no spots there. So the fact that he came home and then complained that it was itchy, and the reason that I noticed that is because he was changing his clothes and top, not only because we changed the jumpers usually, but also his top underneath, and that's because we did some painting. So we don't usually do that. So what's the coincidence of the fact that like on a random day we decided to do some painting after school and I noticed these spots. So basically I had a look and I noticed that it was like only on the certain area of his back, and so my husband was like straight away, oh, it looks like chickenpox, and I'm like, no, it can't be, because firstly they're absolutely tiny, and secondly it's just like one area rather than the whole body. Because I remember having chickenpox like myself when I was about 8 or 9, maybe a little bit older, and I remember them being huge. So yeah, basically I was like, it doesn't look like it, and I was like, oh, probably the mozzies got you, because his school, his reception class is actually like overlooked by a woods or like a forest. So yeah, basically I was like, oh, maybe it's, you know, gnat bites or like the mosquitoes or something, so little mozzies that you can get. So I thought that was that, and I was mentally preparing actually to like get the insect spray out the next morning just in case like it comes back or like they attack him again or whatever. So long story short, he woke up in the middle of the night really itching, and I was like, okay. And actually it spread as well. So by this time it was 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, and I thought, you know what, well, if it is mozzie bites anyway, I took out the mosquito bites, the cream that is an anti-bite cream, an insect bite cream, and I actually spread that all over his back during the night, and that seemed to help. So even though it was chickenpox, now that I look in hindsight, even though it was chickenpox, that insect bite still helped. So if you've got nothing around the house, go and look for it now. And this morning basically we finally diagnosed him using Google searches, you know, pictures, messaging nanny, you know, and friends and stuff. Basically we were like, right, yeah, it's definitely chickenpox, and we ended up using pseudo cream. So good old pseudo cream, honestly, like what would I do without it? It was amazing when he was a baby, when he was a toddler, you know, nappy rashes and everything, and we still use it for everything, like an antiseptic cream anyway, you know, when he gets a scratch, it's like, oh, let's put pseudo cream on you quickly. Anyway, pseudo cream is amazing. Make sure you've got that around the house all the time. So now we're going to jump back in time and I'm going to show you this morning's footage. So this is what it looks like literally less than 24 hours of when the chickenpox rash starts. So it looks tiny, looks like little insect bites. My son then doused himself with pseudo cream. Obviously I helped as well. And I tried to explain to him, it's a really nice age where I was able to say, okay, well, you've got this chickenpox, it's going to be itchy, but it means you're going to be off school for around 2 weeks. Usually they say around 10 days, I think, before you start being until you stop being contagious. So that's why they say 10 days, but I think the NHS website also recommends other things, so do make sure and check those out. But basically there are severe cases as well that you need to be aware of. But when it came to my son, I was like, yeah, well, it means you're going to be at home. So if it's not going to be at home, obviously nanny offered to have him as well, but essentially it's mostly home, and it's lucky that obviously myself and my partner work from home most of the time. so it's not an issue. Luckily for me as well, I can do my work in the evenings too if I need to. I do have some meetings obviously during the day, but that's when it's useful that my husband is working from home, because we can, you know, alternate between us. But at the moment, so first we started off with playing loads. We played cars downstairs, we played cars upstairs, we played lots of games, and then I had to go on a meeting, so then I encouraged him playing some games on the iPad. Slowly but surely he did the naughty thing of basically finding his way onto YouTube Kids, which I'm not very happy about, but it's extenuating circumstances, so I've not said anything yet until he spends too long on it. But yeah, basically what I plan to do is first need to bathe him in cool water. Well, I say cool, it's gonna be like warm water. It's not, don't wash them on in like a hot boiling lobster kind of bath if you do at the moment, because I personally prefer like a lobster hot bath. So basically we're going to have a nice bath, and also I bought this. So this is under £12, so it is quite pricey, but it was recommended by another mum. It's called Pox Clean Cool Mousse, and I'll make sure to link that down below. It relieves symptoms associated with chickenpox, instant itch relief, cooling and soothing, helps prevent scarring, helps reduce risk of infection by blocking bacteria. So basically somebody recommended this, said that it was a lifesaver, so I got this straight away after my most recent call. I ran out, I was like, I asked my partner, I was like, have you got any meetings? No, great, I'm gonna go. So basically took half an hour to get to the town and go to the pharmacy. So I brought this back, which is awesome. My partner's just had his meeting too. And then basically this is what it looks like. It's literally a mousse. You can see the dispenser as well. So I'm looking forward to basically putting that on all over him, because he is being cheeky and using like the door frames to scratch, which I'm telling him, look, it's not a great thing to do, because when you do scratch you'll end up like me, and I actually have scarring from chickenpox right here in the middle, like a third eye, which is on my forehead. It is what it is, right? So I do apologise for my look as well. I did not expect to be on camera today, but it is what it is. So chickenpox couldn't have come at a better time, personally. So for us, I know that he's got half term coming up, and it's winter. It means that he's not missing any park time as well. So he's not socialising with friends. He's got one party coming up in 2 weeks' time, but I'm hopeful that he should be able to go, because he should be better by then, especially if we've got this mousse and we're doing the right things. So fingers crossed. But in the next couple of days, I'm going to have you guys with me and show you our little chickenpox routine, which I'm hoping we're never going to repeat again. So I've just put the bath on, and I said no bath bombs and no bubble bath either, just so that nothing irritates his skin and his chickenpox even more. Okay, you're decent, that's okay. I'm telling my friends and giving some advice for chickenpox. Right, put those in your chest side. Don't scratch, okay? No, I said don't scratch, but yeah, you've got a lot more since even this morning. Okay, pajomwitsa, okay? So, what's doing? The instructions.
What to do?
Mummy.
Mommy.
Mummy.
Mommy.
There. Yeah, Mama.
Can you have the instructions?
Instructions, no? To fish.
I can make you some.
Oh my god. Today. Hi friends, so this is day 2 of chickenpox mania. Basically, there's not much more to say, just like we've been reapplying that mousse stuff, tons. I decided to cut his nails. I actually never do this during the day. I usually do this when he's asleep. Just as soon as he falls asleep, I give it 5-10 minutes, knowing that he's in like full deep sleep. And then I cut his nails because it's just something that we got into since he was about, I don't know, tiny, I guess, since ever he needed nails cutting, maybe. So maybe since he was born, who knows. But yeah, basically that's what I've been doing. But today I just asked him because he was on the iPad, and he was like, yeah, okay. I was like, oh, I was taken a little bit aback, and I managed to cut his nails. But it's just so like if he does end up scratching, you know, the chicken pox, especially loads on his back, not much more on his front, strangely enough. But yeah, basically if he does end up scratching, it wouldn't leave a mark, a lasting mark. So I do have marks actually from chicken pox from when I had it. I was a little bit older, to be fair. But yeah, basically just to prevent that. But let's be realistic, today has been a very different day to yesterday. Whereas yesterday it was quite, I don't know, easygoing because both me and my partner were working from home but didn't really have any meetings. I think I had one, maybe one or two, but they were quick ones. Basically my partner didn't have any meetings, but today he literally had meetings from 9:30 in the morning up until like now, which is lunchtime. But yeah, basically we started off with doing some homework and just getting my son like thinking and doing something that he would have done in school, so like writing and numbers and, you know, multiplying and things like that. So that was really fun. And then I had loads of meetings. I've got more in the afternoon as well, so I did unfortunately have to like shove the iPad in front of him and be like, okay, here's loads of snacks, here's the iPad, enjoy. I think the worst part isn't actually him being on the iPad, it's the fact that it's really hard to get him off of it. But I do think he's getting better now, because like since he's broken his iPad about a year or two ago, we didn't replace it, and I was like, you're not having YouTube again. And then he was like, why? I want YouTube. Only extenuating circumstances, which would be like in the car so that he doesn't fall asleep. But yeah, basically I was just like, because of your attitude, like when I ask you to get off, you wouldn't get off, and you'd always screaming match with me, which is not fun. Anyway, he has got better. So yesterday when I asked him to get off, he did get off, and he got off nicely, which is good. So I'm hoping that after my final meeting I'll ask him to get off, and then we'll play some fun games and do something around the house. I know that, well, we played cards already this morning as well, but we'll play more cards no doubt, because that's a favourite, and stuff around the house. So basically that's a huge ramble around what's been going on. But chickenpox is a little bit different, because usually you're feeling okay in yourself but you're itching. So whereas when you are ill, you know, when you've got a cold, you feel so rubbish, you're at home and you're like, oh, I don't want to do anything. You're just like, you know, you just sit there and relax and do nothing. Chickenpox is different. You can actually do loads around the house. You've got most of the time you've got loads of energy, you know. So that is my summary for day number 2. It's really super sunny, so it's a shame that I can't go walking the dog, but let's see if I can get to in the evening, depending on my husband. And I did ask actually my son whether he wanted to go with me, because we go into like the farms and isolated areas, there's never any kids there. I do think that like fresh air will do him some good, so maybe I'll ask him if he wants to join me, but we shall see. Okay, so we decided to go to Nanny's instead of a dog walk. Our dog is going to hate us. No, he won't. We'll walk him tomorrow, won't we, Aiden? Right, so we didn't want to go on a walk. We are going to Nanny's to pick up a few bits anyway. Everybody's been chickenpox. There's no kids at Nanny's, so we are good and safe to go. I feel like it's like COVID days when we weren't allowed to actually meet everybody. But yeah, basically that's the plan. It's a few days later, and I wanted to show you what the chickenpox looked like now on his back. And there wasn't like that period where it actually all changed to, you know, the pussy bits. Obviously he had a few of those, but most of them just went straight into scabs. So I don't think that he suffered too much. I think he had mild symptoms. I think he had it worst in his private areas. He had one in his mouth, which we put Bonjela on. He's got one under his ear that is healing up as well. So very odd places for sure, but I don't think that it was too itchy or scratchy. Or I think that the medicine actually did wonders as well. Like each time it did get scratchy, we just said we'd put that on like the mousse straight away, and it really worked. The biggest challenge that we had was probably his energy levels. The fact that he's always at home meant that he probably felt like a cooped up chicken, which I don't blame him. So it was a matter of finding like exercises and things that he can do around the house. Luckily, we've got a garden, a trampoline, a swing, but we also were thinking around what he can do in the house itself. At one point I was actually racing downstairs with him and the dog, so yeah, we were basically racing back and forwards to get some of that energy out. So for sure it's a challenge, but I'm glad that it's coming towards of the end of it. And thank you so much for coming onto this journey. I hope that your little ones aren't suffering too much, and basically use the medication that is out there. We really found it helpful, and I hope that you do too. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope to catch you in the next vlog, which is not going to be about chickenpox.